Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. Joffrey Noodle Legs here today with a late night movie review, and today we're looking at Evil Dead Rises. Now this came out, I believe, in the cinema this year, and it's also had a Blu-ray and 4K release, and so it's only just come out. So I thought I'd give you my little opinion of the film. I just watched it. The film sort of starts off with the day after the events, if you like, and we're at like a lakeside where we see these teens at a lakeside, and one of the and we sort of start off the film with like the normal Evil Dead sort of camera movement with the first person sort of view, and then we see one of the girls acting a bit strange in the bed, like really quite sleepy, and the other girl's gone to sort of like get her up and check on her, see if she's all right, and she starts behaving really weirdly. The girl that's sort of like gone to check up, she starts reading her book Wuthering Heights, by the Bronte sisters, which was written around here, and then the girl that's laying on the bed starts reading the book back, a bit like in the original Evil Dead when they were playing cards. So it's that sort of thing, and then she sort of like turns out to be like possessed by this evil. She turns out to be one of the sort of the Evil Dead, and she starts attacking this other sort of girl, and she sort of succumbs to her end, and then she goes out to the lake. I think she ends up pulling her scalp off and stuff like that, and then she ends up to the lake where the lad is and starts attacking him and throws the scalp on the floor, and then there's a big attack in the water. She thought, and then it's like her head, sort of, the other girl's head gets sort of like decapitated, and we see all this going on, and then we get the start titles about sort of 5-10 minutes into the film, which you may have seen at the beginning of the video, and then we cut back to the day before in this sort of like big sort of like apartment. I don't know what town it's supposed to be in, but yeah, this apartment, and we see a family there. It's a woman. No, I'm jumping ahead. Actually, we go to like this gig. We go to this sort of gig place where we see this young girl in the toilet doing a pregnancy test at a gig, as you do, and she's sort of like connected to the family we're going to meet in a minute. Anyway, she's at this gig. I think she's like one of the guitar techs, and she finds out she's pregnant. So she makes her way back to this apartment, which we now join, where there's a family. There's a mother, and she's got 3 kids. The father's parted on his way. He's not there anymore. And so she's coping with her 2 daughters and her son. Her son's like into all this sort of a DJ music, and you see him sort of scratching records. The young girl's into cutting dolls' heads off, okay, and putting them on poles. And the other girl seems to be like the sort of sensible one. Anyway, the other girl, the guitar tech turns up, and she's the sister of the mother. And so then we get sort of like lots of jibber jabber going on between them. She's trying to tell her that she's sort of pregnant, but doesn't really know how to, because she's messed up again. And she's sort of like, yeah, the kids are quite pleased to see her. And we have some interaction with the neighbours as well, going on. There's a guy who lives next door, and there's a couple of kids that come knocking for one of the young girls, but she's not interested. Anyway, the mother sends the kids out to get pizza. She gives them the key to the car to go out and get pizza. So off they go to get pizza, and then they're sort of like, they try talking to. She tries telling her sister about being pregnant, but she still doesn't. And then we cut down to the car park in the basement, the parking lot, and there seems to be some sort of earthquake take place. Anyway, so the three kids are down there in the basement, and there's some earthquake taking place. And this earthquake has made a hole in the car park ground. And the young lad looks down there and sees that there's like a sort of hidden room down there. So he goes down there, and there's all these sort of like really strange things going down there. He finds a box with old records and papers in it. So he sort of grabs the records and puts them in his backpack. And then he sees another sort of room connected with all these sort of like religious artifacts. He has a jump scare, first of all, with this sort of Jesus statue. And he gets this sort of jump scare. And he goes through this room, and then he finds another sort of sacred table, and it seems to with a big hole in it, and he sees something inside, and he pulls it out, and it's an old cloth with something wrapped in it. So he unwraps the whatever it is, and all these sort of like roaches go sort of like off this book. And here we go, we got our book, the Book of the Dead. And so he then takes this book upstairs and the records, and that's all I'm going to tell you. So you can probably understand what he's going to do. He's going to put these records on his record player, and that's going to have the chants that are inside the Book of the Dead, and things are going to go badly wrong. How badly wrong? You need to watch it and find out. What's going to happen? This is all based in like one sort of like floor of this apartment. You've got this family, you got the neighbours. There's like we see a couple of the neighbours because the mother comes out the flat trying to find where the kids are, and then obviously they come back up to the flat, and things start to go wrong. So what do I think of Evil Dead Rises? It was amazing. Really, really cool entry to the franchise. Yeah, really cool. It's so different from all the others, which I like, because yes, there's some little bits in there that are similar. Obviously, the Book of the Dead, and obviously Incantation, but that's probably really one of the only sort of similar things in the film. We do get a few sort of like shout outs to the older film with like things like a chainsaw and things like that later into the film, but it's really not connected too much apart from the book, and I love that. I think that's the right direction to have done. The pluses of this film: the transfer looks amazing. It looks really, really cool. Looks great. There's a ton of gore, which is absolutely amazing. It's gory. It's up there with the first one when it comes to the gore. It's really, really cool. It's quite well casted. It's quite funny, some of it, because the mother that the one of the family that turns into the Evil Dead, when she talks with like the sort of possessed voice, she sounds like the other girl that talks normally, which is quite weird. So yeah, and things take a really nasty turn, and there's some really good effects in the film. And it is quite gory, and it doesn't sort of hold back on that. Negatives, I can't really think of any, to be honest. It was a really good horror film. It had jump scares, it had gore, it had quite a cool story, it had suspense, it sort of built up, and it had sort of like an ending that sort of could lead to another one. So yeah, really, really cool. So I'm going to score the film an essential watch and give it a 10 out of 10. I can't score it any less, because it is a perfect horror film. It's got every element in there for a good horror film. Good characters, strong characters, good storyline, good effects, good gore, good jump scares. It's perfect. Evil Dead Rises, 10 out of 10. Any of you guys seen it? If you have, let me know down below what you thought of it. And it was fantastic to see this franchise return to form. I mean, I love Evil Dead 1, 2 and 3. I didn't like the sort of reboot that came out. I can't remember what year it was, but, you know, it was in this, probably about 8-9 years ago, so maybe more, I'm not sure. But I didn't really care for that too much. It didn't add anything to the story, and it just did nothing. It was just a money making film. But this actually adds something to the franchise, because it takes the book into a different direction, which is amazing. Really, really cool. Really enjoyed it. Thought it was a great film, and I really hope that they carry on and make another one. Guys, until my next video, check out some horror channels for me. Check out Horror Hands, Horror Geek, Man v Film, RS Designs, Pizzlewell, I Am the Ice Lord, Cat Watches Horror Movies, Sarah of Horror, and Grumpy Andrew's Haunted House. And of course, a massive shout out to my Evil Dead loving son, Lemon Lord. Hope you're doing well, mate, and I'll hopefully see you this week. Till next time, look after yourselves, don't have nightmares, and I really hope I'll see you all soon.